Okay, she be gone every single night. Day and night on my mind, pushing a cute vibe.
How's it going, everybody? This is Tyler Drabo. Hope you're having another great day, and welcome back to another video. Alright, it's time for another edition of Random Thoughts. In this series, I talk about whatever is on my mind, whether it's something interesting in the world, a personal story that I want to share, or if I just want to rant about something. With NFL season officially done, it's now time to start my next favorite sport after that, which is NASCAR. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about my expectations for the upcoming NASCAR season. I'm going to talk about some of the new that's happening, some of the different changes that have happened to the sport, and I'll give you my predictions on who will win this season's NASCAR Cup Series Championship. And boy, I'm very excited for this upcoming NASCAR season. So obviously there has been a lot of change in the sport since the end of the last season at Phoenix, and a lot of it has to do with the brand new cars. First off is a brand new next gen car, which is obviously more of like those cars that you usually see on the streets nowadays, more like the Camaros and the Mustangs and Toyota Camrys that you usually see. But this year's car is a lot more different compared to the cars that you saw in the previous seasons in NASCAR when you looked at a Gen 6 car, which ran from 2013 to 2021. With these cars, they work almost just like your usual stock cars. These cars have a lot more horsepower and a lot more torque, and more importantly, these cars are going to be predicted to go quite a bit faster and maybe at times be a lot more competitive as well at certain races. And trust me, there are going to be a lot of heavy expectations when it comes to these brand new cars, that they be a lot more competitive than the previous car that they had over the last few years. One of the differences is that the door number is actually not going to be usually in the middle anymore. Now it's going to be right near the very front of the doors on both the left and the right side of the cars. And a lot of that has to do with putting the opportunity of having more sponsors on the cars as well, getting more ad time as well. And so this is something that I thought would be really interesting to see, and we'll see exactly how this would go. And there's also a lot of concern in regards to these cars as well. One of the things is that during preseason testing with it, there was a bit of a possibility that these cars could have multiple breakdowns during cautions and races as well. And so really, because of the short amount of time that they've had to prepare this car, there's a lot of fear that these cars could have a lot of mechanical breakdowns. Plus, there were a lot of fears as well in regards to when they were testing these cars that they could potentially cause injuries as well. We haven't had a very serious injuries in racing accidents in the sport since almost a decade almost. But whenever they were testing these cars for crash test dummies, there were a lot of fears that whenever they were testing these cars and having these accidents like this, that somebody could potentially get very injured. Now, I don't know about that. We've only had one race with it, and I'll talk about it in a little bit, but really, because we haven't had a full whole distance race yet with these cars, it's really hard to say exactly whether these cars are safe or not until we actually see them out on the racetrack. So come this Sunday at Daytona, we're going to find out exactly how safe and how fast these cars are. There's also a lot of concern whether or not they would even have enough cars as well, because right now, as we all know, there's a supply chain shortage that is happening nationwide, and that really goes into NASCAR as well. There's been car shortages as well. There's also a lot of parts shortages, and really that's become a major problem, because now a whole lot of the top teams that we have seen in the sport, a lot of them don't even have enough cars to go to multiple races, and they're still taking a whole lot of time because of the shortage problems that are happening nationwide just to be able to build a whole lot more of them. And so that really comes into play this weekend here at Daytona. Really, you could see some teams just play it safe just so that way they can preserve their cars, so that way you can build more cars for future races, while others, obviously they might just be a little bit more concerned about the equipment, because like they said before, there's a whole parts shortage that's happening right now. And so if they have any major breakdown of any kind, that could become a major problem. So you could see some teams decide to take it easy, but afterwards, once everything clears out, we could see a lot more competitiveness with these cars. Now, we've already had one race with this next gen car, and that was at the Busch Clash at a brand new location. Usually it would be at the Daytona International Speedway. This time it was at Los Angeles at the LA Coliseum, and it was actually a pretty decent race. It was a very interesting idea to run the race at a Coliseum, which I thought was rather out of bounds, but hey, it generated a lot of excitement and generated a whole lot of TV viewership as well. I think it was the most watched Clash in nearly 6 years, so really that race is a success, and it's looking more and more likely we'll head back there next season. But under one of the cautions, as I said before, there was some major parts problems as well. You saw some teams break down during the caution, and so really, if we go back to short tracks like that in the near future, whether those problems are also going to continue to exist. So really, it remains to be seen, but there's a lot of excitement in regards to this new car, and it'll be interesting to see exactly what happens this year with the next gen car. We also have drivers in new teams as well, and one of the first ones is Kurt Busch joining 2311 Racing. Now, this is a team that is co-owned by NBA legend Michael Jordan, and he's joining a team that got their first win in their first season last year with Bubba Wallace behind the wheel. Kurt brings a whole lot of experience to the team, as well as a Cup Series championship from back in 2004, and so for Bubba Wallace and this team, this is a huge lift for them because they bring somebody with veteran experience to be able to help them with becoming a much better team this year. And I think with Kurt Busch there, I think this team has an opportunity to become a lot more competitive. And so this could be a year where we could see a breakout year for Bubba Wallace. We also have Brad Keselowski moving to a brand new team. Obviously, he's also a part owner of it as well, which is Roush Fenway Racing, which now has been renamed RFK Racing. Now, the long-term goal, obviously, when it comes to this is for him to maintain full control of ownership of the team. So at some point, Jack Roush will ultimately step down, and then Brad Keselowski will presumably take over the operations of the sport. But for right now, he's part driver, part owner. And so this is really setting up for what could be a complete takeover of management for that team in the near future. It'll be interesting to see what Keselowski does in his first year with his new team. This is a team that has struggled over the last few years, unlike the team that he was previously at. So I don't expect him to be completely competitive to start out, but as the season goes on, we should see them pick up, and maybe we can start seeing them be more competitive and start competing for wins again. We also have Team Trackhouse Racing. That's also gotten some new players as well. You know, they recently became a two-car team, which included Ross Chastain, who was previously at the now defunct Chip Ganassi Racing. He is now a teammate to Daniel Suarez, and they started out pretty hot last season, getting a top 5 finish at the dirt race at Bristol, but unfortunately things died down for them late. But this year there's going to be a lot more expectations for them, because this year they are now a two-car team. This is an opportunity to see exactly what they will be made of. They have two good drivers that are still trying to seek their first wins, and really, as long as they get their equipment good enough, they could become very competitive this year. So we'll see exactly what Trackhouse Racing can do in their second season. And we also have Kaulig Racing, which is a team that has become extremely dominant in the NASCAR Xfinity Series last season. They are moving up to the Cup Series this year with Justin Haley as one of their full-time drivers, and they're also going to have a rotation of drivers for the second car, which includes AJ Allmendinger, Daniel Hemrick, the reigning Xfinity Series champion, and Noah Gragson. Hemrick's actually will be behind the wheel of their second car at Daytona to start the season. This is a team that has become very good in the NASCAR Xfinity Series lately, and so it'll be interesting to see exactly what they can do in their first full season in the Cup Series. And I should probably mention, last year during their part-time season, they won a Cup race with AJ Allmendinger at the Indianapolis Road Course. So if that's any indication, I expect this team to be very competitive right off the bat. And there are a whole bunch of other storylines to go along with that as well. It's really a lot of drivers that are in brand new places, while other drivers that are looking to rebound from last season and become a lot more competitive this season. And it's going to be a very competitive year, because last year there were 36 drivers that ran the full schedule, and all but one of them scored at least one top 10 finish. So if these cars are any indication, we could see a much more competitive season, but it really remains to be seen. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give my predictions for what I think will happen this season, and I'm going to start with the Rookie of the Year award. Now, there are a couple of guys that I'm keeping my eyes on in this rookie battle, but really the guy that I think is going to come out on top is Austin Cindric. He's the guy that's replacing Brad Keselowski at Team Penske this year, and he is a former NASCAR Xfinity Series champion. In the last 2 years in Xfinity, he's become one of the top drivers there in that lower tier sport, and now we're going to see exactly what he can do in the Cup Series full-time in top level equipment, which obviously is a team that his dad is a part of, so it's really not surprising that he's up there in the number 2 car for Team Penske. But this is a really good driver. Austin Cindric had a tough start in the Truck Series, but since the last couple of years in the Xfinity Series, he's gotten a whole lot better, and this year it's going to be interesting to see if he can use what he learned from there and translate that into a successful Cup season. And I think he will, and maybe even get a win and come out with the Rookie of the Year award. Speaking of which, that moves into my next predictions, which is first-time winners for this year. My prediction is that there will be at least 3 first-time winners this season. Cindric will be one of them. The next one that I have on my list is Ross Chastain. Now, sometimes last season, he was pretty competitive. In fact, he almost won a race at Nashville, and so really there was a lot of anticipation that this year Ross Chastain could do a whole lot better. And I think this year, this could be a year where he can break out and get his first win. Whenever he's in good equipment, he has the opportunity to become very competitive in the sport, and he has shown that quite a bit over the years that he has been in the sport. And I think this year he can definitely have a major breakout year. So I think it'll be interesting to see when Ross is going to get his first win. It's not going to be a matter of if, it's going to be a matter of when. And finally, Tyler Reddick. This is a guy that has been long wanting to get his first win for such a long time. He's come close multiple times over the last couple of seasons, and really, I think this is the year he's going to do it. It's really his third season in the sport. Chase Elliott, the 2020 Series champion, he got his first win in his third season, and so really, if there's any time for Tyler Reddick to get his first career Cup win, it's right now. The two-time Xfinity Series champion has really been competitive in the Cup Series, but has just struggled to find a way to victory lane at this point. I believe this is the year that he finally breaks out and does it, and so we'll see what Tyler Reddick does this year, and hopefully this is the year that we finally see him in victory lane. My next prediction is going to be the most improved driver. Now, this is an interesting one, but I think this year is going to be William Byron. Now, this is a guy that got his second career win last season at Homestead, Miami, driving the number 24 for Hendrick Motorsports, and at one point went on a string of top 10 finishes as well before everything fell back down to earth for him. He ended up going out in the round of 12, I think, or round of 16. I don't know. I think probably the round of 12, but watching his fellow teammates win a lot, I think it's giving him a whole lot of motivation, and seeing what he is capable of doing, the fact that he is a former Xfinity Series champion himself, I think this is the year where he finally starts winning more than one race, and if he can do that, I think he can become a very serious championship contender. So keep your eyes on William Byron. I think he's going to be the guy that's going to be the most improved this season. And finally, when it comes to who I think is going to win in championship this season, well, this probably won't be much of a surprise when I make this prediction, but it's going to be last year's champion Kyle Larson. You saw what he did last year. 10 wins is absolutely remarkable. That's as many as Jeff Gordon had when he won his championship back in 1998 when he won 13. I don't know if anybody is going to ever reach that mark, but I really feel like right now the conditions are set for Kyle Larson to repeat again. You know, it's going to be a lot tougher for him to be able to defend his title because, like I said, the new cars and also the competitiveness potentially of some of the other drivers, but in the end, Kyle Larson has just become too good since he came out of his suspension from 2020, and really, he is just the top driver of the sport so far, and so I think Kyle Larson will go back-to-back as a NASCAR Cup Series champion this year. It's going to be another fun season. It starts on Sunday at the Daytona 500 on Fox, and I'm really looking forward to seeing exactly what happens over the next 10 months. It's a very long season, 36 races, but in the end, it's going to be a very exciting year with a lot of new, some old, but a lot of excitement, and it'll be interesting to see exactly what happens in 2022. So with that being said, to all the NASCAR fans here, what are your predictions for this year? What do you think about the new car, and who do you think is going to win the NASCAR Cup Series Championship this season? Leave your predictions in the comments below, and I'll be more than happy to hear them. Anyways, that's going to do it for another video. Hope you all enjoyed it. As always, if you'd like to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when my latest video is released. As always, be sure to comment below for future suggestions for all my videos, whether it's vlogs, projects, or challenges, or random thoughts videos, you name it. Leave it in the comments below and I'll do my best to make them. And as always, follow me on my social media. All the links are in the description below. That's going to do it for another video. Hope you're having another great day. And as always, I hope to see all of you again in another video very soon. So long, everybody.